Hey, howdy friends, I am Frightman, and this is a 7-foot animated pumpkin guy from the Costco Halloween season of 2024. In this video, I am going to show you how to assemble this guy, and it's going to be a challenge. But if you would like to see how to get him back in this box, I have a video for that. And if you would like to see a demo and a fair and honest review, I have that video. But for now, let me show you how to get this guy together, and don't laugh at all my challenges. Okay, so we're going to start off with our base. If you'll notice how the base is angled, I use this angle to determine the front. This would be the front, this is the back. We're going to be putting the two straight poles onto the base here first. The two straight poles are exactly the same. There's not a left or a right, so it doesn't matter which one that you put down on either side. And then we're going to be going and putting these two angle poles on here. And these angle poles are the same way. There is no left or right. So we'll just simply go ahead and add these two. I did find it kind of interesting that the instructions come in a lot of different languages. And I've seen 2 or 3 languages, but I've never seen this many. I actually don't know what a lot of the languages are. And I'm about to look it up because I'm just curious to see where this guy sells besides the US. Okay, so now we're ready to put that costume on these poles. This costume is really, really large, and it's not a material, it's more of a plastic type. This guy is rated for outside, so I'm assuming that would be why. I do notice also that there is a sensor hole right here about in the middle of the front of the costume is this sensor hole. Let's go ahead and take this tag off. It always drives me nuts when they tag the costume. It should be self-explanatory. And over here on the back side of this costume, it's completely open. There is Velcro to be able to close it up. So let's see if we can get this costume slid down on these poles. Not too bad. So it's not like trying to get legs on it or anything. So it's just really simply sliding it down over the 2 poles, and that's pretty much it. So we're ready to move on. Okay, so next we're going to be adding this waist ring onto these 2 poles. It does have 2 of the clips here that are going to hold this guy on, so let's see if he goes on nice and easy. It's always a good sign when it does. This guy is pretty heavy. I'm shocked that the base on this is made really well, but I guess that's because he's really top heavy, and so they don't want him to fall over on you, obviously. Let's see here. So not going down real easy just yet. Come on now, baby. Hopefully we're going to get this to go in. Okay, so now we are ready to go ahead and put this waist onto these 2 leg poles. And the left hole here is not bored out as well as the right one is, so it's a little tricky. It looks like they really have to go down about the same time in order for this to work, so we might have to use a little bit of brute force here on this one. So not a good sign to start having challenges with the poles already. Okay, so I took those clothes off, and that is to show you something here that ended up being a problem for mine. Maybe not for you, but I'm sure they're all the same. So the instructions are misleading. So both of these bottom poles, the 2 straight poles, they're both labeled B. And it says put B onto the base. There is a good B, or let me rephrase that. There is a right B and a wrong B, even though it's not labeled that way and it's not called out in the instructions. So as I went on ahead and did what the instructions call for, which is just to install the B's, as I got up here, the thing was faced more towards the front. So this angle here was more towards the front, which I thought was kind of weird because it seems like it would have made it tip over. Well, I was correct. So this actually needs to be centered. So I'm letting you know that even though the instructions don't tell you this, there are 2 different B poles. So the one that needs to be over here on his right is just a little bit longer than the one that needs to be on the left. If you change those around, then this whole piece here is going to have to face to the front, and you're never going to get this waist on. But I've corrected that. We've got the waist on and we can carry on. So we'll go ahead and pick up where we stopped at before I ran into the problem, which is putting the costume back down on this guy. Now, this waist was so hard to put on. I have a funny feeling I'm not going to be able to get it off. And if this costume does not slide over this waist, which it doesn't look like it is, I am going to be in a little bit of trouble here. Because I don't think I'm going to get that waist back off. So I'm going to cross my fingers, and it looks like it's going to be a very tight fit. And I'm just not sure I'm going to be able to. None of this is a good sign. You don't want to run into problems early on a build like this. But, you know, this is real life, and I'm letting you see, you know, the struggles sometimes that you can go from putting one of these things together if the instructions are not correct. So the struggle is real. And luckily I was able to get that costume down over this waist ring. But again, it's a really tight fit. And I'm not sure when it comes time to take this apart, it's probably going to require some extra hands in order to push in the two tabs and really pull this thing out. Because it is a really, really tight fit. So it is time to go ahead and put these shoulders onto this pole. There is a wire coming off of the control box, and then there's some wires coming off of the arms, or I should say off of the shoulders here, that are going to go to the arms. And this looks like this is going to be our sensor. Now, this control box is very interesting, and let me see if I can show you this. And the reason I want to show you this is because I have never seen one like this before. So it's kind of interesting. I told you that there's a lot of different instructions. I'm sorry, a lot of different languages on the instructions. There are buttons here to change the languages. And then there's different modes here. So I could tell one of them is music. I'm not sure what the rest of them are. And we will find out shortly. But this is very interesting that there is actually a language button here. I can see English and French. I don't know what the other language is. And then it also has a waterproof cap here, and I haven't got to what this is, but I have a funny feeling it's for an external speaker. Of course, we have the volume control and we have the power. This thing is rated for being outdoors, and all of these wires have waterproof screw caps on them. So when you hook up the wires, there is also a piece here that you're going to be twisting. So the wires will go in, and then you're going to twist that waterproof cap in order to give it a seal. But that control box is very different. I'm kind of puzzled, and I'm intrigued to see what all those buttons are going to do. So we've turned them to the side because we do need to install a backbone for this guy. So the backbone is just going to connect up here. It's just got the two hooks coming off of the wire here, so it's just going to be connecting right here to the back. And that's good. So it does a couple things really. I like these backbones. So the backbone will give him some shape here in the back, so it's not just flat, but it's also going to keep the costume out of all of the controls here. So there is a place here for us to go ahead and slide this arm. It looks like it's going to go like this. There are two wires, so there's two servos. There's one here and there's one here. And there's two wires here that are hanging down on the shoulders. We're going to be attaching those two wires to the matching wires here on this arm. We have to slide the arm into the costume, attach it, and then put these two wires on. Okay, so we have that left arm done. Let's go ahead and try to slide this costume up over the left arm and see if it works the way that they say that this should. Okay, that's not bad. Getting the wires onto the thing for the servos is a tad bit of a challenge, and this is definitely not going to be a beginner prop, that's for sure. So here is our struggle. We've got to do the same thing over here on the right arm. And in order to do that, I have to slide the arm into the costume before it can really go up here. So yeah, this is definitely not a beginner prop. And honestly, I'm going to have to say, so far this season, this is going to be the toughest prop that I have assembled. And now I'll be going to the back side to attach the wires on the right arm. So this far, this assembly has definitely given me a run for my money. It's quite a challenge. As I was doing the wires for this right arm, I was able to slide those two connectors together, and then again you have that waterproof screw cap, and it didn't want to go on, and I had to really push hard and really screw. So between that and the waste and everything, I'm just like a little concerned about maybe the quality of this, but he's starting to look pretty cool, so let's continue on with that head. Hey, I'm over here. So the head is pretty big. It's bigger than my head, that's for sure. And it's just dropping down into a couple of slots here in the neck. It does have one of the locking pins on it. So we're going to have to actually take this pin off of this slot, slide this head in, and then put this pin back. And this is to keep the head from falling off. And I was looking at the angle of this and I was like thinking, ooh, that doesn't look good. So I'm glad that it has a pin. Put that in my mouth, sorry about that. And we will drop this head in. Okay, so with the head in that socket, there is a wire coming off of the back of the head, and that is going to attach to a wire that is up here off of the control box. Luckily that one just slides together. There's not a whole lot of stuff to it. So I need to slide this little pin in the little slot here up in the pole that we just put in so that this head doesn't fall off. Alright, so we flip this guy over to the back, and that is because we need to put his sensor on this costume. So the sensor is located right here. It's already attached, so at least that's one wire that I don't have to struggle with. And it looks like it's just going to go right here in the front, and that's just going to Velcro in. I'm going to take a peek here in the back. Yeah, it looks good. That's good. So our next struggle is going to be bringing this costume completely up and over and going ahead and closing it up. And before I do that, I'm actually going to go ahead and put this power cord on. Now this power cord is actually pretty good. It's rated for outdoors as well, so it's a little bit different than the ones that we see on some of the other props that are not rated as outdoor. So it looks like it's a heavy-duty power cord. The cord itself is definitely a much thicker gauge than what we would normally see in a prop. I am going to just go ahead and drop this power cord right into his costume here, and I'll fish that back out in just a minute. And I'm going to slide that up, and I'm going to go ahead and stick this onto the box. And this actually has one of the caps that we're going to twist on as well, again making that seal weatherproof. So I find that very awesome that the switches are enclosed in a rubber, so they're weatherproof. What I think is an external speaker jack, which we're going to find out, is also weatherproof. Now what doesn't look like it's weatherproof is the knob. So that's kind of interesting that all of this stuff has precautions, but I don't really see anything on this knob. But regardless, let's carry on. So we need to go ahead and get this costume over. That's not going to happen with my height and this guy's height. So we're going to go ahead and push him to the back just a little bit here. And then we are going to get a step stool. So I know there's some Velcro from what I read that we need to attach to the pumpkin head itself. I'm not quite sure exactly how that's going to work just yet. And the top piece has two pieces of Velcro that are not brothers and sisters. So it's two of the same. So I'm not quite sure what's going to go there. Guess we'll be finding that out in a minute. Now, I have had my struggles with this guy. There's no doubt about that. Like I said, he's not a beginner prop, but I do like the way he's looking. And so I am hoping that these servo motors in these arms are going to be as fascinating as I think that they are. Okay, so I did take a little break so I could reconcile some of our intense moments with this guy, and we've done that, so we feel better now. So I did talk about the Velcro up here in the neck and that it had a lot of melt pieces. Well, that turns out to be for this collar. And so this collar is now going to go around his head, and it is going to Velcro in 4 different places actually. I really like the way he is shaping up. So now we have a shawl to put on him, and the shawl is going to go around the backside, and it does have Velcro. So there's a little Velcro here, there's a little Velcro over here, and let's see, I'm just trying to figure out exactly how this shawl is going to go. I know it's just going to throw over and Velcro. So it looks like the shawl is going to go around his backside, something like this. So we're going to just throw it over and go ahead and Velcro it, and then I can walk around and fix it in the back. I did go ahead and take this netting here, which is has 2 sides. So 2 of the colors, you can see that there's a bright green here, and there's also this dark green. So it's kind of glued right here to the top of the costume. You take 2 layers of that, a dark and a green, and you bring it to the front, and then you bring the other over. So if we lift this up, you can see that there's also some dark over here, as well as some light, and he looks pretty creepy. So really the only thing left that we have is just a little bit of more embellishment with some of this green. It's optional, but I like the way that this stuff looks, so we're gonna go ahead and add it to ours. So to add that embellishment, they have given us 3 pieces of this creepy green cloth, and I do like the way it looks. I'm not quite sure what look I'm gonna go for, but hey, I like that. That was simple. So you can do whatever you want with this, or you can do nothing with this. But I don't know. I like the color of this, and it's just kind of a neat look. Again, do watch the review video, because I am going to make some comments about this this netting material. Actually, we have 4 pieces. Oh, good. So I even get more to play with. I like throwing it over the head. I like kind of draping it over the arms here. What do you think? I think that's a pretty good look. And then this last piece, oh, we have 5 pieces. Excuse me. We have a lot to play with. It looked like it was only like 3 pieces, but they just keep coming and coming. Yay, we did it. That completes the assembly of the 7-foot Costco animated pumpkin from the Halloween season of 2024. If you enjoyed this build, please give it a like. And if you'd like to learn about that control box and see this guy in action, be sure to check out his demo video and my review so you can hear me talk about all the troubles that we just went through. Hope you enjoyed the video, and until next time, stay spooky, my friends.